All right, everybody out there in the CraftChest Nation, as I CraftChest here. And first and foremost, yes, I know it has been many moons since I've posted a video here on YouTube. And there is a very good reason why, actually a bunch of reasons why. And I'm going to take the time, if you have the time, to listen to this good little story. And I haven't done a story time with CraftChest in quite some time. So I decided to do it in this format because if I could get back to streaming, and we did a stream test last night, doing all the things and all the apps up that I normally would on a single PC setup. We're not going to go into any details about dual PC setups and fixing the other computer and this and that and the other, although we will touch on fixing the other computer. But what had happened is that about a year ago, a little over a year ago now, Murphy started messing around with me, you know, Murphy. And I was getting into, and still am, haven't been like doing any tinkering with it because of what happened, but it started out with my car. It started out with the Defiant and me wanting to go to car audio shows, okay? And if anybody watched those videos about the build that I was doing in the Defiant, then you know that I was working on a competition SPL vehicle to go in a particular class for Base Wars. And also to doing demos and just having fun because I like bass, always have my entire life. I've been doing it since off and on and really strong whenever I go into it since, golly, the late 80s, 88, 89, as old as when I was old enough to drive. I remember my first subwoofer was a Pyramid subwoofer from Radio Shack. Had a clear cone on it, had a polypropylene hard cone, a 10-inch subwoofer. That was the first one. Then I graduated to the Kicker Comps, the gold letters, shortly after that, and et cetera, and so forth. And now here we are in the year 2022. And it peaked on the build with two Sundown U18s strapped onto two JP23s. And pushing out about roughly about 5,000 watts ish, thereabouts, give or take. All right, and doing 154. And if I had to power, might as well call it a 155 machine because the only thing holding it back is a super cap bank or an extra battery. All right, so that's where we are today. So it's a 155 machine. I'm just waiting to get it officially. It's always 154.7, 154.8. Those 2/10. It's just a power thing, though. I need to get more batteries, lithiums or something like that. So I got into that really big last year and decided that I wanted to go to one of the most prestigious shows in the nation next to Slamology, which was the Sundown Audio Show. So at that particular time, right before there, about a month before, I went to a show in Mobile, Alabama. And I had been going to that show off and on for about 3 or 4 months. All right. And then Scraping the Coast happened, so I went to that show, and then one more show after that, and that's when I started having this odd anomaly happen with the Defiant, where I'd be running fine. Let's say I'm on the interstate, and be running fine for 100 miles, and then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, and I mean to tell you, wouldn't stop or cut off or die, but just go like I was in a truck and tractor pull. You know how those things, when they get to the end, they just stop and they can't go any further? That's what the car acted like. And I would pull over, and I ended up thinking it was the coal pack. So I bought another coal pack. Come to find out, it still did it. And so I was like, well, I got to figure this out. And I fooled around with a bunch of things, messed around with the wiring, thought maybe it was a voltage issue. I wasn't having any spikes or anything like that, and really paid attention to it. Well, I drove back and forth to work, and it never happened again. And it only happened 2 times prior, and then all of a sudden I was messing around with stuff, cleaning stuff, reconnecting, you know, just maintenance. So I was like, well, it ain't happened in weeks now, so I think I am going to go to the Sundown Audio Show. So I went. Well, I got about halfway between here and Montgomery, Alabama, and it happened. Brrr. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So right then, I think I actually posted a video on that. Yeah, I did, where it's decision time. Do I make the trek another 800 miles or however far it was, or do I turn my happy butt around and go back home and call it a day? And that's what I should have done. So anyway, the struggle continued. It happened to me about 3 or 4 more times on the way up there. And I guess it was the universe looking out for me, or my cloud wizard, where I got into South Carolina and the traffic was doing about, 35 to 40 miles an hour all the way across that state going into North Carolina for hours upon hours. And I was running late because of it. It got about 9 o'clock at night, black as everything outside, no moon. Just all I could see was the lights of the cars out there because they had these barricades up and everything else. But it never happened again. It happened to me like, it happened to me in Atlanta. Oh my God, I should have filmed that. That was freaking hilarious. Oh, like a 20-lane highway. I needed to get way over there, and I'm way over here as far as you could go. I'm pulled over. I'm seeing anything and everything. I don't know what neighborhood that was, but oh my gosh. I survived Atlanta. Let me just put it like that. I survived the Atlanta highway, and there's really only another way to go, but you got to go all the way to Jacksonville and then cut back up to get there, efficiently. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't even want to talk about Atlanta. I just want to forget about it because it happened to me going and coming back. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Just let me get through Atlanta. I was sitting there white knuckling it. Oh my God, let me get through Atlanta. Let me get through Atlanta because that is a long stretch of highway going through that area, and it doesn't matter what time of the day it is, that place is packed. Like rush hour traffic, packed all day, every day. Every time I've been through Atlanta like that for years and years, it's been like that. I remember 20 years ago it was like that. Anyway, let's forget about Atlanta. So I get past South Carolina. It's running time for my check-in, or running about time for my check-in, and the car ran fine. And I called the hotel, like, look, I'm going to be running late. Please don't give my room up. I'm going to be about an hour. Hold my room. I'll be there. All right, just let us know if you're not going to be able to make it. I'm like, I'm almost there. I'm just going to be late. Don't cancel my room or I'm screwed. Because I got a really good deal through that hotels.com site for a 3-day stay or something like that. It was awesome. I was like, well, you got to be kidding me. That's freaking cheap. And I did the reservations like, I don't know, 5 days prior. So it was really good. So I went there. The show was awesome. Y'all have seen the videos. If you haven't, go back and watch them. Sundown Audio Show that I posted. And everything was fine. And that's about the last videos that I remember posting. Maybe, did I get back and post something? Maybe I posted something after the fact, like a hurricane or tropical storm. Because that happened right after I got back. I think that was the last thing. But on the way back, and this is the long short of it. All right. On the way back, I started having that problem, and sometimes, depending on where I was, I would stop, because this is a long-ass drive. This is like a 10-hour drive, okay? And me being the person I am, I don't stop over, okay? And, continue. I go, just go. If it's under 12 hours, I go. And so it happened to me a couple of times. A couple of times I stopped preemptively, let the car settle down, whatever. And after I got out of the other side of Montgomery, I want to say it was. Oh, no, I stopped before Montgomery. Okay, yeah, I stopped before Montgomery. And took me a couple hours, went and ate some lunch. And so I kept going. So I was just taking my time trying to keep, 70 miles an hour or less. Just whatever flow of traffic would allow me to do, because I was like, maybe if I take it easy, maybe it's something to do with, high RPMs or trying to go up and down these hills, because it's like this the whole time, I never realized or remembered it being that hilly, I guess. and everything was fine. I got about 15 miles from this high-rise bridge, and I mean to tell you, it goes like this, peaks, and then goes like this over this river. Mobile River Bridge, I think is what it is. And about 15 miles before that, before you go across this large stretch, about 15 miles of marshland bridge, no curb, no shoulder, nothing. It's just barricade, lane, lane, barricade. Like, so I was thinking to myself, if I have this problem on that bridge and there's some 18-wheeler barreling down and they don't react in time, I'm screwed. You know, because I had plenty of lights and I had extra lights, you know, from the box that I turn on, and I had them on when I was going across there just in case, so people could see, you know, this glowing light coming out the back windshield through the plexiglass, plus my brake lights and, you know, tail lights, whatever. And it was this exit, and I was like, I need to pull off right here. And I saw where there was a gas station, but I couldn't see it. And I'm looking both ways before I get to it because it's a big, wide open space. I was like, really need to pull over. And I need to, but man, the car's running so good right now. I'm afraid to stop. Maybe it might cause it, you know? Oh my gosh, I should have stopped. That would have changed the entire, which I think it would have. Maybe it wouldn't have, but I think it would have. It would have changed the entire space-time continuum as I sit right here today, and you wouldn't be watching this video. You wouldn't. It'd be completely different had I just pulled off that exit. But at the same time, I remember these peoples, and I don't know what I thought they were going to do. I remember these people saying, if you break down, we're going to be leaving at such and such a time. You should be in front of us. We'll stop and check on you. Boy, wasn't that a foreshadowing of things to come. But, I mean, in the end of it, what did I expect them to do? They're hauling this big-ass trailer with this big, gigantic truck. They couldn't have done nothing for me. They couldn't pull me. After what happened. So I made a decision. I'm not going to go this exit. And that was the mistake that rates at the top 10 mistakes that I've ever made with a vehicle. All right. Or anything, really. Because it's changed the entire year that's gone by. So I kept going. And I got across the marsh. And I mean to tell you, no sooner than the shoulders widened. I mean, I'm like, you got to be flipping kidding me. I made it all the way across that. I'm at the foot of this bridge, about to go like this, at the foot of this bridge. And I mean, couldn't go 5 miles an hour. I'm letting off the gas, letting it recover, pushing the gas. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And as more and more I went up on the side of this bridge. So I was like, oh, shit. And about that time, a truck went around me like this, big old truck, big 18-wheeler. So I'm going, and I don't know how fast I was going, 10, 15, 5 miles an hour. I don't know. At the time, it's hindsight, whatever. So I was like, oh, shit, I got to pull over. I got to get over it. About that time, I looked in the road, and I'm like, what the hell? I wasn't even on the curb. And something was, I don't remember if it was rolling, if it was sitting there. I just saw this thing right there on the edge of the highway. And I couldn't react in time, couldn't slam on the brakes. It was that quick when I saw it. I don't know where it came from. Just the universe put it there for me. And I ran over the top of it. And my car doesn't sit like ultra low, but it sits low enough to where this thing was big enough. And it chunked. Like, I mean a chunk. Like something just took a bite out of the corner of my oil pan. And there went the oil. Holy shit. So before I can assess the damage, I'm pulling over. I'm throwing on lights. And right then, I should have actually, right that second, turned off the car. But me freaking out, I got out and I was like, oh shit, what's the damage? I saw oil pouring out and I was like, oh my God. And I ran back in and turned the car off. I was like, what the hell did I hit? I'm looking back behind the car. I'm looking, I don't even see anything. And then I guess it kept on going or whatever down the hill. I don't know if it came off that truck or if he hit it and it made it roll, or I don't know what it was. Big, and it had to be metal because it's just, or a big ass rock, one or the other. So there goes the old pan. I'm sitting on the side of this bridge with a barricade about 3 foot tall, not even up to the waist. And I'm looking over the edge of this. I'm like, holy crap! If somebody hits my car or freaks out, not paying attention, rubbernecking, whatever, I'm dead. I can't sit here. This is no bueno. Okay, I got to get off this bridge. So I was like, I know it ain't. I'm just going to go straight through, but at least it'll lube stuff up long enough for me to get over the top of this bridge, and I could make it because I was seeing it. I was like, it's not even a quarter mile. I could make it over the top of this bridge. So I took the oil that I had in the car, poured it in the crankcase, ran my ass around, started it up. I don't even think I put on my belt until I got over the top of that thing. Threw it in the gear, got up to the top of there. Nobody's coming. She went. I started hearing ring. I was like, oh, it's about to go. I got to turn this off. And I mean, I hit the top of that thing, turned it off. Boom. All right. So I'm coasting over the top. I get over the top. I'm like, I need some speed to get off this bridge so I can get down there. I see a big wide spot where it's going to be safe. So I started it up. I went, please start one more time, baby. And she started up. Vroom, threw it into gear, punched it for 3 seconds. I was like, 1, 2, vroom, and then turned it off. Put it in neutral, turned it off, and I coasted. Well, I ended up coasting about 2 miles, according to the people that stopped. He goes, you coasted all the way from back there? I was like, yeah. Like, man, your car rolls easy. And I coasted for about 2 miles until I ran out of speed and I pulled over. And it was wide enough and safe enough for me to sit there and say, okay, what the hell am I going to do? Where even am I? So I look on the map. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. I'm right outside the top side of Mobile. That's how far I went. And if I had just pulled over, maybe I might have made it into Mobile. At least there's exits and, ramps and stuff that you can pull off coast, and people's going to honk at you, but what are they going to do? You know what I mean? And I could have gimped my way into a parking lot. Worst case scenario, stay in a hotel because they're all along that interstate. If I'd only pulled off that exit. And that's the going theme on this. If I just pulled over, it might have changed everything. So I chunked my oil pan, and so I had to get back to work. Didn't have time. Only had a day. I did get pulled back by JP from the Gods of Games. Came and got me. And say whatever you want about that man. He had my back. He had my back on that. And those guys from Base Wars, which Billy, I know your name. Is it Jordan? Billy and Jordan. Yeah, Billy and Jordan pulled over and checked on me. I was like, guys, I don't know what to tell you. What can you do? I'm like, I'm out of business. My car didn't just break down this time. I hit something on that bridge back there that chunked my oil pan. It's gone. Oh, man. I was like, well, I called my buddy. He's supposed to be on the way, so I waited. About a couple hours. I don't know how long went by. I'm sitting there. I'm going, please, everybody on the interstate, please just ignore me. Just ignore, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there. I'm checking my water supply, which I had plenty. I'm checking my snack and food supply, which I had, sufficient. I was like, just in case I had something happens, he ain't gonna be able to make it. What am I gonna do? Worst case scenarios just started popping up, which it already happened, but whatever. So anyway, he comes, man, saves the day, pulls me back in for the 3rd time. One time from an event when it first happened. And then, what was the other time? I forget what the other time was. But it happened 3 times. It did. Oh, yeah. One time when he went, one time when he didn't go, and this time. So 3 times he's had to tow me home for some bullcrap. Anyway. So I just shouldn't have went to that show, basically, is what the bottom line is. I should have just stayed my happy ass home and watched the videos on it. Which, look, I don't regret it going. I just regret going with the car that was gimpy. You know what I mean? That's what I regret. And I'm glad I didn't go in the other car, because once I started having to drive that car, oh my gosh. I blew tires. I didn't realize those tires were that bad. I don't even want to talk about that. But anyway, had to change the tires on it, all 4 of them. And, well, yeah, because I got 2 used on the back, 2 new on the front. So, yeah, there's that. So anyway, come to find out, long story short, months later, that once I dropped everything, and you know, you can't pull the transmission and the engine out of the top because of the way everything's configured in there. All right, it just doesn't work. All right, the master cylinder and the reservoirs and all this other stuff are just in the way. So I had to drop the pan, the girdle, crankcase cover from the crankshaft itself, bust all the cap nuts loose, bust all the main bearings loose, and then finally got it to spin. We're in business. So I unhooked the thing, get the motor out of there. This goes over weeks and weeks and weeks, okay? Because I would work on it a day, put it to the side, work, you know, IRL stuff, wouldn't be able to do it every single time. And so I knew that I had spun bearings. All right, that was the motor was locked up. Boom, boom, boom. I knew it was locked up. So it was bearings. So I ordered some bearings from ZZ Performance ahead of time before I ever even broke it down. Got a new oil pan, etc., so forth. Got the motor out, disassembled everything, repolished the crankshaft, you know, redneck style with the shoestring and the lube and the you know, WD-40 oil, whatever you use. Most people use WD-40. I think that's what I ended up using. And sandpaper. I forget what grit, but I polished them down. And I have pictures that I might share later on when we get the car running, but I want it to be, you know, whatever. So, man, this is 21 minutes already. Y'all like this story? This is a good story, isn't it? So in the middle of all this, my car's broke. And about this time a year ago, yeah, it was September, because I was like, man, I really want to get into, because I was streaming off and on. Wasn't much, but I was like, I really want to do that, you know, September or stream timber or whatever they call it on Twitch and get back into that. Well, about that time, that PC that I had been streaming on for years, all right, no problems whatsoever. We've been rocking the, what is it, the 1700X, AMD 1700X, the RX 480, the 570s, the 580, just different cars, testing out different things and all that over the years. And all of a sudden, I started getting these random blue screens. I'm like, what is this? So updated the drivers and this, that, and the other, and so forth. Then it got to where it wouldn't even do Windows Update, and it's still stuck on like 19 or 20 or something like that from way back a year and a half ago. I'm like, why is it not updating? So I thought maybe I had some malware or something like that going on, a virus, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't download and click on stuff like that. I really don't. Not on these PCs. The old PC is where I did any of the like downloads and whatever. All right, and then transferred it over. But I would scan it first, and I know that's not 100%. I know it's not foolproof, but I did a deep scan. I downloaded Spybot. I upgraded the Avast, did a file search, all this, DLLs and everything. You name it, I did it to try to find out why this thing won't update. Even went so far as to unplug all the backup drives in case something was corrupt on there and it was messing with the main drive, which had happened on another computer here recently, that I was helping somebody get fixed. That didn't even work. I'm like, huh. So I bought another hard drive, reinstalled all the games, unplugged the spin drive, which is a terabyte backup drive that I put like videos like this on, all right, just for storage purposes until I'm ready to render them out. And that didn't work. Just blue screen, just random. I could be sitting here watching a YouTube video. Nothing in the background, just a YouTube video. Single monitor, watch a YouTube video, just whatever. And I'm like, why? You know, just random. Watching, you know, Amazon, Disney, it doesn't matter. Just watching a video. So that's what I got to doing, because that's all I could do. I couldn't game. I could log into Path of Exile, for example, and it wasn't 15 minutes. And like, you got to be kidding me. So researching and everything, and I guess it was about November, December time, I found out that AMD's drivers were not 100% stable, that we might want to roll back or whatever. So I was like, I'm just going to wait because I don't have time for this. So January rolled around. I think January It started smoothing out after they came out with another update. Was supposed to be a little bit more stable. And I think that was the last time I actually streamed. I didn't announce it or nothing. I just fired it up to do a test. It did fine. Oh, wow. Was I wrong about that? After I did that, it started getting more frequent. I'm like, what in the world is going on? And so I just threw my hands up. F it. I'm done. I'm done. And I was like, I'm just gonna do old man things. I'm just gonna sit here, drink and watch TV and eat, sleep, and work, I guess. Eat, sleep, and work on the Defiant as I can, and call it a day. And that's what I ended up doing. And I had been buying parts for a new PC, which I'm on now, and I don't even have 100% of the parts because I am rocking the original, the half 912 from back in the day, the case that I won from Newegg that Paul from Paul's Hardware built. I'm using that case. I refurbished it, cleaned it out, scrubbed it down, and it's working out fine for this build because I have a Bazooka motherboard that I bought, AM4 Bazooka motherboard, MSI I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. 16 gigs of Guile RAM. Got a really good deal on a 5600X, the AMD 5600X CPU for $189. I was like, I can't pass that up. So I had pieces and parts here and there. But GPU prices were still through the roof. And I was like, well, man, I can't sit here and not. It was just getting worse and worse and worse. And come to find out, the long story short on the other PC is that the motherboard is bad, basically. It'll work, but it's random as far as how lanes and all this stuff, and it's conflicting and it can't, so the motherboard's bad, all right? Because all the other pieces and parts work fine, they check out, nothing's wrong, all right? I even swapped out just to check in this PC the RAM from there and did some RAM checks and all this other stuff, and that's what's taking a long time right there. It's just seeing what's what, all right? I even tried to put that CPU, the 1700X, into this build, and it worked, got to the BIOS. I didn't have a drive on or anything. Because that's a nifty little thing about this motherboard is that you don't need anything on it to actually flash the BIOS or get to the BIOS, which is pretty cool. So it'll tell you, like, if something's reading in there. So when I put the CPU from the old one in here, the first time I just firing it up, it showed it there, and it showed the cores and all that, 8 cores, 16 threads, yada, yada. And so I was like, well, that's not the problem because everything's reading out voltage-wise, et cetera, so forth. I knew it wasn't bad. But I ended up saying, I got to get this PC together because I was literally and still am trying to come out of, the only thing I can describe it as is depression. All right? My car's blown up, been working on it, the motor's rebuilt, waiting on some parts, and then to throw on top of all that, since about the month of May, it has rained. I better not hear the word drought ever again down here. It's just now drying out to where you can do stuff outside. It rained so much that it got so frequent. We had rain in this area 29 days in a row. And I mean, I ain't talking about sprinkling. Some of these days were just white out, can't see the car in front of you on the interstate, even with their flashers on, which I don't know why that's illegal, people. Stop doing that. Just put your lights on, be done with it. Stop putting your flashers on. It's not how they work. That's not how you're supposed to use that. Look it up. I'm right. But it just white out rain. And I mean all the way across the interstate. Days and days and days. And it got so bad. It was like 2 or 3 inches of water all the way around this property. It just saturated. All right. Lake Galay out here just stayed overflowed and full. I don't know if y'all remember the pictures I posted of that. That thing's deep because there's 95 cars always, who, no matter who lives in that rental house over there next door, there's always like at least 17 people that live there, and every one of them have a car. I mean, it looks like we're having a block party at one house. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. So you throw the car situation and the PC situation, blue screen after blue screen, worse and worse. You never know what's going to happen. Then the weather gets to suck it. And on top of it raining, the other days it's 115-degree index with 100% humidity. So you step outside, it just looks like 5 minutes later you done jumped in a swimming pool. And yes, I know that's just the way it is here, but oh my God, it's not so much the heat, but the humidity is just sucks it out of your body. Just craziness. Anyway, so all those factors in there, I said, I can't wait, man. I can't wait on GPU prices to drop. Forget that. I'm not doing it. And so I put together what I had. All right. And here we are. And I am rocking the RX 480, the original build, the GPU from this build over here, from the 2 Wicked 2. And this is the 2 Wicked 3 now, I guess. Would it be, or is this the 4? I don't know. It's like Firestorm. Remember Robot Wars? Firestorm 4. Anyway, I think this is number 4, actually. I'm rocking the RX 480 on a 5600X on a Bazooka motherboard with 16 gigs of Guile RAM and an M.2. I'm wanting, is it a Corsair? Corsair or something, 1 terabyte drive on the board. And that's it. Nothing else. Because I'm not going to add a drive to this one. This one is just strictly this, vlogging, and gaming. That's it. And then we're going to buy a B550 motherboard to fix the older PC that's got the 1700X and an RX 570 in it right now. 16 gigs of 3000 RAM. And I think that's Corsair also. Oh, no, I'm wrong. The M.2 in this new PC is a Crucial. Yeah, it's a Crucial M.2 1 terabyte. Works pretty good. I like it. I'm impressed with the performance of this PC. And so the past month, I've been running it through its paces, stress test, opening up things, doing everything that I do here. Fired up the stream briefly one time before last night. And then last night I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a proper stream test. Because I think the other time was like 15 minutes or something like that, just to see if I was going to have any random anomalies or, frame rate drops or, do I have that funky thing happening in XSplit over here where it halves my bit rate and I'm really using double of what it actually says, etc. Just anomalies that I had happen over there on that one. And whenever we do rebuild the other one, also, I'm going to get some update drives and just, DX those drives, man. Get them up out of here. And I don't think there's anything. There better not be anything on there that's super important. And the spin drive, I'm afraid to plug it up to anything because it had some corrupted files on it. But it wasn't like virus files. It was just corrupted files, like videos didn't render properly. And I'm wondering if that's something to do with like GoPro footage versus this type of footage and yada, yada, encoding and all that good stuff. It's kind of strange, though. Whenever I did render a video from Sony Vegas on the other one, didn't mess up. Oh, yeah, that's it. I need to get that key. That's something. I got to get some files off of it. I got to get the key to my Sony Vegas and all that, and I might put that on here. But strictly, this one's just going to be vlogging and gaming. That's it. That is it. And then the other PC, I've got a whole other monitor set up in another station, just like this one, right next door that I can move to if I have any other work to do. And that's it. If you made it this far in, that's one heck of a story, isn't it? And I'm posting this raw because this is something that's been on my mind the entire year, is that I know that a lot of people out there, whether we realize it or not, we are a community that has been around since 2007 at least. All right, 2007, 2008. And there's a lot of OGs out there that still, you've been there thick and thin, thin and flush. You've supported the cause. You've supported me personally in every way, shape, and form that you can imagine. And I appreciate all y'all for sticking with me. I appreciate Guntoad for this wallpaper here that I wish it would show the brand all the way, but it won't pull it down for some reason on VCam. And I appreciate, people showing up last night in the stream. I didn't even announce it. I think maybe I threw it in Discord to say I'm going to do some stream test on the new PC, and I think that was it. And all the OGs, man, y'all showed up. We had Sick Kid out there. We had Drekken. We had, forgive me, just T2. Where's T2? What's he been up to these days? Well, he's been playing Diablo 3 here lately, y'all. So check him out. He's been streaming on YouTube. And there's your what's T2 up to update for you. And all the other guys, I haven't forgot about you. And some dude named Hatfield McCoy or something like that. What was that? Somebody knocking at the door. So appreciate all of yous for being there. And I'm going to end it here because now it's just going to be ramble time. It's Craft of the Mind. Go out there and have some fun. And hopefully this is the return. For a minute anyway. Woo! Stay tuned for more. Let's see who's at the door.